This is a $30,000 watch from Audemars Piguet. And today I'm going to be telling you why it's one of the worst buying decisions you can make for your collection or one of the smartest. This is a before you buy, where we review watches in detail before you make that expensive mistake. What makes them cool, what makes them maybe not the best addition to your collection, and our final verdict. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Before You Buy. This is not your typical Royal Oak offshore. It's larger and it's louder, coming in many different colors, such as blue and green and yellow, and in our particular case here, a more muted gray. It's more aggressive, and depending on what you're looking for, that might be exactly what you need or exactly what you need to avoid. Let's break it down quickly. It's 42 millimeters in size, and it has 300 meters of water resistance. That is perfect for those of you as things are heating up and you need a watch that can withstand the water. Many people will wear a dress watch and they wear it like a sports watch and they try to get it wet and they go about their day with that dress watch on like it take a beating. In my humble opinion, this is not that. This is a true sports watch, not a dress watch that dresses up like one. Now, here's what this model does right. What I personally love about it is the quick change interchangeable straps. It not only has a caliber 4308 movement, but someone like me who has that disability, I have cerebral palsy, it makes changing the straps incredibly fun. I mean, you wanted to add a little bit of flair to this watch, straps is where it goes. You do have other examples that are brighter colored dials. Personally, I like the more muted tones, and I like to add the creativity, the bit of personality when it comes to straps. That's usually how I personally like to wear my APs, but again, to each his own, everyone's different. It does right, it has a real wrist presence. You can see here on my, let me just put it on my 7.5 inch wrist. It really just fits the bill. Bear with me here. But here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. And you can see that it really packs a punch. It really has a presence to it. And that's really due to its design. Magenta really popularized that design, and it just doesn't waste any space. So many pieces that are big and bulky that don't have to be big and bulky. This is big and bulky and serves a purpose. What I love about it is that modern AP movement. You have the 42-weight movement inside of there, and you can see that from the exhibition case back that is present on the watch. These days, with so many fakes out there, so many super clones, so many people on the market trying to scam you or take advantage of you, being able to see that movement and knowing what you're looking for in a watch is just a real leg up when it comes to choosing a model. These days, I don't recommend anybody buy something with a closed case unless it's heavily looked at by somebody who knows what they're looking for. That could be them, buyer. If you're who knows what they're looking for and knows what they collect, that's great. But I've seen so many people get scammed because they're buying something that is a Frankenstein, or maybe the movement has been adjusted or altered in some way, and they're just not educated enough. And that's why we here, Taylor Timepieces, put these videos out there, better educate you on pieces to buy and what pieces to avoid. I also think is great is that brand equity. Like this, it's just you're buying an AP, and I think that carries weight in any room. You think if you're putting this piece on your wrist again, do I love the quick change strap system, but I love that when I put it on my wrist, it's noticeable. I love that, especially as it gets warmer here in the New York, New Jersey area. You don't have to sweat too much, or rather, when you're sweating, um, in your expands and contracts. You're not worried about damaging the so often the bracelets tarnish and patina because sweat has gotten into them, and they've really just kind of time. And something like this with a strap, if you tear of it, you that it's properly wound, you make sure that it's properly cleaned. A strap like this and a watch like this will last you a very long time. And honestly, that's what you should expect from a brand with such a high caliber as AP. Again, watch does not come without issues. And one of the issues that I think you could run into is, this that I find to be a benefit. For me, I like to wear a watch. I like to feel like I'm wearing a watch. I don't like those, that might be a little bit more dainty on a wrist. They definitely their place in a more formal setting, but this thing is hefty and thick and you feel it. So if you're not the kind of guy who wants to feel like they're wearing a watch, and maybe they want to be a little bit more discreet, maybe the watch for you. Um, note, if you are somebody who consistently has to dress, with and things like that, fitting this thing under a dress cuff is very, very difficult. You can fit, but it's uncomfortable to fit under a dress cuff, and that does limit the versatility of the watch. With a true sports watch, I wouldn't recommend wearing these with clothes. Here at Pieces, we're all about not only how a watch fits into your collection, but how it fits into your wardrobe. And again, if you're somebody who wears suits very often, this might not be the right fit for you. And there are alternatives, and we'll go into that later in this video. Um, Again, service. EP is incredibly expensive to service. Now, they do a great job, but it's not cheap. You're easily looking at a four-figure service cost. And, usually you send it out to Geneva, and that is anywhere from a 3 to 6 month process. It's very long, it's very time consuming. And for some people, it's worth it because, again, I personally think AP does a wonderful job servicing. They sometimes upgrade the movement if they deem it necessary, and they give you a better movement in the watch. But more often than not, people are these pieces, and they, because technically beautiful pieces, they do have their issues, to keep in mind when you're buying an AP. When it to this specific piece, the is this. It's a wonderful piece. It's a great piece to have, especially as the heating up, and we have the spring and the start of summer going on. But it shouldn't be your first AP. I think that, this someone who already has a dress piece, already has a cornerstone bold and modern AP in their collection, something like a Royal Oak, a regular Royal Oak, and now they want to experiment. They want to be creative and bold in their choices. They care a lot about brand recognition, but they're also a very active person. And if you like rubber straps, of course, on watches, if you're not a guy who likes rubber straps, if you're going to say, hey, you know what, I prefer a bracelet. Hey, you know what, I prefer a leather strap for a more look, then this Royal, this offshore, it's definitely for a lot of people. Listen, I love the piece. I think it's a great casual piece. But if you don't find yourself in casual settings often enough, that price tag is going to range anywhere from $18,000 to $30,000, depending on the color and completeness of the model. It may not that fits the bill. This particular example, timepieces, we're asking about $24,500. And again, it's a full set, comes with those box and papers. But it's important what you're buying when you're buying these pieces. And of course, if you go ahead and buy different color dials, your style is and know what you like, they're awesome, beautiful alternatives if you sports watch, and maybe you don't want to spend as much. That's if we're here, we have, and I'll just pull it from my desk, the 14060. Again, we talked about that earlier in another video. This is a great sports watch with that bracelet that you can put it, and it has that versatility. With this, of course, it would be very difficult to put a bracelet on it, be very difficult to put a leather strap on it. You can do it, I just think it would be out of place. So if you're that kind of guy who wants to experiment not only with different colors of straps, because the AP's got you covered there, but different um different on your straps, then again, there are other, we're here to service you on those as well. Again, I keep saying truth is that this is a statement watch. It shouldn't be your first AP. If you're buying it a logical investment standpoint, skip it. There's other pieces that I think are better uses of your money. But if you have a pretty robust and broad collection and you're looking to add something interesting, something bold, and something you don't see every day, then the AP Offshore Diver in any color, but particularly I like the gray because it's the most muted color. I think it's the most uh you're gonna get the most wear out of that dial configuration. I think a great choice, and I'm so excited that we have it Taylor timepieces. And if you have any interest in it, please drop us some. If there's other dress pieces that you want to show off, I'd love to hear about that in the comments. And of course, if you have other dial configurations that aren't the gray, such as the blue, the orange, the green, whatever colors they have many colors of this particular example of a watch. I'd love you to send those to us as well. Please comment and subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to catching you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.